Hey guys, it's the team here at Authentic Mission, and I've been putting this off but now would be the time to do it. So I'm gonna get my assistant to read something, and then I'm going to explain why I'm talking about it. So here you go. Don't forget to say a word.
Mark 12:41-44 The Widow's Offering. Jesus sat down opposite the place where the offerings were put and watched the crowd putting their money into the temple treasury. Many rich people threw in large amounts, but a poor widow came and put in 2 very small copper coins, worth only a few cents. Calling his disciples to him, Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. They all gave out of their wealth, but she, out of her poverty, put in everything, all she had to live on."
Now, what you just heard was my assistant read from the Bible verse there. Well, he said which one it was. Now, this would lead me to believe that any organized religion, or particularly of a Christian nature, maybe Jewish, I don't know, any of those religions that use the Bible teaching of tithes, and tithes being 10%, that is a governmental teaching, in my opinion, that the churches adopted. Excuse me. And the reason I say that is they have a specific number, okay? And I've heard from someone that I love very much that they heard a story of a pastor telling a family that tithe was 20%, and that affected the family's company's bottom line that year, because the family was giving 20% before the end of the year stuff, and they ended up losing a lot of money. Now, the way I interpret that Bible verse that you just heard when Jesus was in the temple is that, yes, it's important to give to the temple, or to, in this case, your church community. It's important to be a part of it and help out where you can and give to any teachings, or to any charity outreach that the church might be trying to complete, and any charity drives and stuff like that. I mean, you're part of the community. You give what you should be able to give. But in today's 21st century world, I can't go and not pay, let's say, my company's internet bill. I can't put my bills on the back burner for God. I would love to sometimes, but companies won't care about that. You can't say to companies, well, look, I'll give you this much now and this much later, because if I give this much to my church of my 10%, then God's going to bless me in many ways. God will bless us giving to the church, to Him, more or less. But, and at the same time, with those rich people, they were giving more than they needed to. And even Jesus said it. And this woman gave what she could give. Now, what I'm saying is, give where you can give. But don't let, or have a very deep conversation with your pastor. And ask him about this Bible verse, because That right there is showing give what you can give. Now, that doesn't mean if you've got $20 and you've already told the church, let's say that you're going to, give $20 a month or whatever you can give, that doesn't mean you can take it back to go and buy a case of beer. Because that's being selfish. That's being selfish and that's being against God. Whereas if you're giving what you could give and maybe, not giving $2 this week because the $2 might affect your paycheck and paying, let's say, your mortgage. God will understand that because He knows the way the world is nowadays. He knows that you can't go to your bank and say, well, I'll be a little bit late on the mortgage this month because, I got to give so much to my church. But again, when it comes to material reasons why you're not giving the money, such as maybe a case of beer or, I want to buy the newest iPhone, that might be something to reflect on because that's a selfish need. That's not a need for your family, for a charitable donation maybe, for an appropriate reason to maybe not give $2 this week or $5 this week. Give what you can give. Don't be stingy and give 10 cents or 20 cents and hold all your coffee change and give that to the church just because you don't want to pull out a 5. If you can spare 5, give a 5. If you can't spare 5, then don't stress about it. Communicate with God about it. Don't let people tell you how much to give to the church. Read your Bible, communicate with God, give what you could give. Because in that Bible verse, it shows. Like I said, those rich people were just giving. And that woman gave $2 or whatever it was. And that means more to God than winning $1 million and giving half of it to His church. Let's say. Reflect on why you're giving what you're giving. And if you're being stingy, you know in your heart if you're being stingy. You know in your heart. You know the truth. But that's where I think the governmental side of church comes in. That's where I believe the government had too much of a hand in it. People read scriptures, misunderstood it, or in some cases, and even cases of control, I'm not going to say who it is, but some churches have used it to intimidate humanity. Or to manipulate humanity when they couldn't even be honest for 20, 40, 50 years. When they were doing their own thing and covering their own tracks. So, just think about that Bible verse. And again, because I yammered on a little bit, I'm going to get my assistant to read it one more time maybe. And then we'll end on that note. But this is what I would like to call reflections on the Word.
Mark 12:41-44. The widow's offering. Jesus sat down opposite the place where the offerings were put and watched the crowd putting their money into the temple treasury. Many rich people threw in large amounts, but a poor widow came in and put 2 very small copper coins, worth only a few cents. Calling his disciples to him, Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. They all gave out their wealth, but she, out of her poverty, put in everything, all she had to live on."